Hello everyone, my name is Nilanjan Chatterjee and today we are going to discuss myth, memory and history. Okay, myth, memory and history unveiling the Itihasa-Purana tradition of ancient India. Before we come to our main discussion, let me tell you one thing. When the colonizers came to India in the 18th century, they had a few preconceived notions about India. And one of those preconceived notions was that India does not have history. Not all the Europeans thought in this manner, but a few of them actually thought that India doesn't have history. Do you agree? Please let me know in the comment section. Okay. When the nationalist historians started to refute the colonial understanding of history of India, uh, they started saying that India does have its own form of history. So, according to the colonizers, history is a Western discipline that emerged in the West that talks about a study of what has happened before. Okay, so India doesn't have a discipline of that sort. Okay, so what happened when the nationalist historians arrived? The nationalist historians started claiming that no, India does have its own history. Okay, and what are the history of India? What are the own indigenous forms of history writing in India? One of those forms was the Itihasa-Purana tradition. We probably did not have history in a very European sense, but we had our own literary tradition to identify and understand past and what has happened before. Okay? An Indian way to understand and interpret what has happened before. That may not have absolute similarity with history, but it has similar underpinning. So let's come to the very first slide. The Itihasa Purana tradition of India is not merely a literary legacy, but a foundational pillar of Indian civilizational ethos. Okay, it encapsulates a distinctive historical consciousness. Okay, one that does not separate the sacred from the temporal or the mythic from the real. Okay, I'll explain that later. Before we get into our main discussion, let me tell you one thing. We, the Universal Group of Institutions, have started our admission program. If you are interested in joining our college, please visit our website. We have BA, BSc and BCom courses along with integrated UPSC and IAS coaching. Apart from that, we have Universal PU College along with CSAT and CUET training programs. Okay, so feel free to join our college, and please remember one thing: if you use the referral code of NIL009, I'm repeating, if you use our referral code of NIL009, you'll get some attractive discounts. So let's come to the second slide, the next slide, etymology and conceptual roots of the Itihasa-Purana tradition. So the word Itihasa originates from the Sanskrit expression Iti-ha-asa. That means, so indeed it was, how it was. Okay, like that it was. So that is the actual literal translation of the word Itihasa. That is Iti-ha-asa. So indeed it was. This formulation implies the truthful or accepted narrative of past events, events that have happened before. I've already mentioned events that have happened before, suggesting a form of history grounded, this is very important, belief, transmission, and most importantly, what is the very indigenous form of literature in India? Memory. Okay, belief, transmission and memory. So the next point is Purana. What is Purana? Purana stems from Pura, that is ancient. Pura, that is old, that has happened before. Pura. And Na means new. Pura, which means ancient, and na means new, a composition of both these two dichotomous words, signifying ancient knowledge that is ever renewing. Okay, old that has been renewed. Purana implies the recirculation of cosmic and dynastic truths to suit each era's needs, functioning as living documents shaped by religious movements and social evolution. Okay, social evolution. Let's come to the next slide. Historical perspective. Okay, unlike Western historiography that privileges linearity, okay, that maintains line, one comes after other, okay, and chronology, linearity and chronology. Unlike the Western historiography that concentrates on linearity and chronology, Itihasa-Purana tradition is embedded in cyclic time, that is Kala Chakra. Time repeats, history repeats in the Itihasa-Purana tradition like a cycle, like a chakra. Okay, cosmology and moral causality. Okay, that is karma and dharma. Karma is what you have done, and dharma something that holds you together. Okay, so these are the very basic tenets of the Itihasa-Purana tradition. Ramayana, one of the famous Itihasa-Purana text, uh, I would say Itihasa, one of the Itihasas. Ramayana, attributed to Valmiki, is believed to have been composed between 500 BCE and 100 BCE in its earliest form, with later additions and regional interpolations extending into early centuries CE, composing about 24,000 verses in Sanskrit. The Ramayana is divided into 7 books, okay, and these 7 books, these 7 sections are called kandas, okay, kandas. The first is Balakanda, okay, describes the divine origin of Rama, the protagonist of this tale of Ramayana, his youthful virtues and his marriage to Sita, okay. Next is Ayodhya Kanda. Chronicles, Ayodhya Kanda chronicles political intrigue. Okay, the political scenario that was developing while Rama was growing up, and Rama's exile, when Rama exiled, and his departure into the forest. Okay. Third is Aranya Kanda. The third Kanda is Aranya Kanda, explores Rama's forest wanderings, the kidnapping of Rama's wife Sita by Ravana, and encounters with sages and Rakshasas. Okay, Rama's life is turning into something else from this Aranya Kanda. And next point, the fourth Kanda is Kiskindha Kanda. Kiskindha Kanda depicts alliances, Rama's alliances with Sugriva and Hanuman, and the search for his lost wife Sita. Okay. Fifth is Sundara Kanda. Okay, that celebrates Hanuman's journey, who is a monkey god, Hanuman's journey to Lanka and his devotion to Rama. Hanuman, who is a devotee of Rama, he is looking for Sita. Okay, and in order to find Sita, he is traveling all the way to Lanka, which is modern day Sri Lanka or Ceylon. Okay, next is Yuddha Kanda. Yuddha Kanda narrates the epic battle in Lanka that between Rama and Ravana, the defeat of Ravana and Sita's rescue, how Sita was rescued. Okay. Finally, the last and the final Kanda or section of Ramayana is the Uttarakanda that covers Rama's coronation, Sita's trial by fire, her exile, and the birth of Lava and Kusha. Okay, Lava and Kush are the sons of Rama. Okay, next is the next slide. As we can see, Ramayana's cultural impact. Okay, the ideal kingship. Rama, in the particular Itihasa, Rama embodies the perfect ruler who prioritizes dharma and his subjects' welfare above personal desires. So a ruler who wants welfare of his subjects, of his territory, okay, not of his, he doesn't think of his own developments, own benefits. Okay, establishing a model for righteous governance, this is also very important. So apart from the historicality that we are getting from the Puranas, sorry, the Itihasas, we are also getting to know about some notions of perfect governance, how to be a perfect governor. That is also we are guessing, or we are getting from Ramayana, which is an Itihasa text. Okay, influenced political thought across India. Okay, how a righteous state, okay, has to establish its righteous laws, its righteous governance on the subjects, that we can understand from Ramayana. At least we can have a notion, have an understanding of how it was in the ancient past. Okay, then another point, artistic legacy. The epic of Ramayana inspired countless temple sculptures, paintings, dance forms, and theatrical traditions throughout South and Southeast Asia, becoming cornerstone of cultural expression. Now you have come across a new word, epic. Okay, epic, which is also translated as Mahakavya. So, along with Ramayana, which is along with so along with Itihasa, Ramayana is also treated as an epic or a Mahakavya. Okay, so can we say that all these epics or Mahakavyas are basically Itihasas? Please write your opinion in the comment section. Uh, Next slide is the devotional movement. Rama's story catalyzed bhakti traditions in India, okay, with regional retellings like Tulsidasa's Ramacharitmanas, transforming the narrative into accessible devotional literature for the masses, for the common people. Okay. Next is the Mahabharata, another Itihasa text that is very important to note, the Mahabharata, epic of complexity. First point is the monumental scale of Mahabharata, with approximately 100,000 verses composed in 18 parvas. Okay, 100,000 verses composed in 18 parvas. It is the longest known epic globally, composed over centuries from 400 BCE to 400 CE by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Okay, it was originally composed by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Okay, next is narrative complexity. The story of Mahabharata contains numerous subplots. Okay, it has multiple smaller stories involved, okay, incorporated within the main grand narrative of the Mahabharata. Okay, including philosophical discourses and embedded stories that create a multi-layered and multifaceted narrative structure. Okay, third point is ethical depth. This is very important because for Mahabharata, ethical depth is a very important, very crucial aspect, because Mahabharata explores moral dilemmas, okay, dharmic contradictions, and the complexities of human choice through its characters' struggles. Okay, these complexities and this ethical depth of Mahabharata is well explained and narrated in Srimad Bhagavat Gita. Okay, the Mahabharata blends mythology with deep philosophical and ethical discussions. Okay, the Bhagavad Gita, one of its central texts, synthesizes Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedantic thought. Okay, taking elements from Mahabharata, making it a cornerstone of Hindu philosophy. Okay. Next point is the structure of Mahabharata. There are almost 18 books of Mahabharata, 18 sections of Mahabharata. First 6 sections are Adi Parva, that is the origin of Kuru dynasty. Okay, as we can understand from the nomenclature, the origin of the Kuru dynasty means it goes back to the formation of states, the formation of janas. Okay, from later Vedic period. Okay, then Sabha Parva, the game of dice and exile. Okay, so we are starting with state formation, then we are coming to the game of dice and exile in Mahabharata. Then Vana Parva, forest exile for the Pandavas. Who are the Pandavas? Yet another important chieftain. Okay, another important chiefdom. Okay, that emerged after or the later Vedic period onwards. Okay, just like the Kurus, the Panchalas were also an important, I would say, lineage of later Vedic period. So we come to know about the Pandavas as well. Okay, the next is Virata Parva. Okay, Pandavas incognito stay. They are trying to hide themselves in this Parva, Virata Parva. Okay, then Udyoga Parva, peace negotiation, that is negotiating peace. Thereafter comes Bhishma Parva, beginning of war. And here comes Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Next is book 7 to book 12, Drona Parva, Drona's command, the introduction of the character Drona. Karna Parva, Karna's leadership. Shalya Parva, the final phase of battle. Then comes Sauptika Parva, night massacre. Stree Parva, that's the lamentation of widows. Shanti Parva, Bhishma's discourse, what Bhishma is saying. And finally, the final phase of the book, Anushasana Parva, Bhishma's teaching. Ashwamedhika Parva, that is horse sacrifice ritual. You can find a lot of similarities with the Vedic, social structure, social practices. Ashramavasika Parva, retirement of the elders. Mausala Parva, destruction of the Yadavas. Then Mahaprasthanika Parva, the final journey. Okay, and Swargarohana Parva, okay, ascent to heaven. So it ends with heaven. Okay, as it started with origin of the Kuru dynasty and it ends with heaven. So we can see a juxtaposition of historical knowledge as well as spiritual knowledge. Okay, here in this Itihasa tradition we see historical knowledge combined with facts and records is, complemented with spiritual and philosophical underpinnings, understandings. Okay, so that is it for today. In the next video, we'll be talking about the Puranas. As we can see in this slide, we'll be concentrating on the Purana, what it means, what it deals with. Please stay tuned, and if you have any query, any doubt, feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.